A group of middle school-aged Muslim students were heckled by a group of men during a visit Wednesday to the state capitol.
The students were in Frankfort for the first Kentucky Muslim Day at the state capitol. ABC 36's Alex King has the details in our top story this morning.
A group of middle school-aged Muslim students met with state lawmakers to advocate for proposed legislation, including anti-bullying measures. Muslim students from Lexington and Louisville attended the events. The Council on American Islamic Relations shared the video of the incident on Facebook that shows a group of men heckling the students. The Lexington Herald later reports the man who shot the video is Robert McCall, who is CAIR's Director of National Government Affairs. In the video, you can see the men holding signs with biblical phrases that also called Prophet Muhammad a liar, murderer, and child molesting pervert.
The Muslim faith is a false religion. Islam is a false religion. You must repent of your sins and come to Jesus Christ, or you will go to hell.
Hey, you guys know these are little kids, right?
You will go to hell.
You know these are little kids. You guys are harassing little kids right now.
Reportedly, Robert McCall, the man taking the video, scolds the men, asking if they understood they were harassing little kids. Alex King, ABC 36 News.
Seeing CAIR defend children on TV prompted a look at CAIR's record with regards to young people. One might think that the people at CAIR were never sophomores the way they unequivocally condemned a group of high school students who donned KKK robes for Halloween.
Well, now the Tennessee Department of Education has opened up an investigation saying, quote, it was brought to our attention last week that a few York Institute students wore KKK robes on Halloween night at a Jamestown restaurant. Meanwhile, the Council on American Islamic Relations is now condemning that group of 7.
But they couldn't bring themselves to do that when Muslim students were singing songs about chopping off heads.
The Muslim American Society says it is investigating a video that shows children reciting a violent poem in Arabic last month at a Philadelphia Islamic center. We are blurring the children's faces. According to a translation, they say, quoting, we will defend Palestine with our bodies. We will chop off their heads, end quote. Eyewitness News has not independently verified that translation, but the Muslim American Society said in a statement it rejects what happened, calling it an unintended mistake and on oversight, which the center and students are remorseful about. The Philadelphia Anti-Defamation League responded saying if the translation is accurate, it is extremely disturbing. Children should not be indoctrinated to hate.
CAIR's qualification here would certainly please Hamas. We should be careful, however, not to conflate criticism of Israeli policy toward the Palestinians with anti-Semitism. Is that what they told the kids? Now that CAIR has gouged the taxpayers of Minnesota, will they do anything for the young teens? Or are they going to grow up thinking the police in America are racist and that trying to play the ghetto lottery is admirable?
Families of 4 Somali American teenagers have reached a settlement after Minneapolis Park police officers handcuffed the boys and held them at gunpoint.
Get on the ground right now.
July 10th, 2018, Minneapolis Park Police responding to reports of young Somali boys threatening people at Minnehaha Park with sticks and guns.
Where's the gun at?
I don't have a gun.
Why are you threatening people with a gun?
I didn't threaten no one with a gun.
They encounter these 4 teens,
Get that gun on my face, bro.
ages 13 to 16 years old.
We didn't do anything. That dude put a knife on us. What do we do?
Sit.
We try to forget as much as possible. We still deal with the fear and the trauma of this incident, but part of that healing process is knowing that we're getting justice.
The Council on American Islamic Relations announcing the settlement of the lawsuit alongside mothers of a few of the boys. They'll receive $40,000 per family, plus $10,000 will go to CAIR for legal assistance. In a statement, the Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board points out the settlement is not an admission of wrongdoing, calling this an investigatory stop. The boys were handcuffed but not arrested, while officers searched the area for weapons but never found any. Later that same month, the park board hired independent investigators to conduct an employee investigation, finding no discrimination or bias against the juveniles had taken place.
I don't think you understand.
What did you get called for?
Quiet!
While no laws were violated, one officer served a 2-day suspension for not de-escalating the situation and failing to explain or apologize to the teens after they were let go.
She's had a recurring nightmare of whenever seeing the kids in the grassy area that the video had and unfortunately killed.
I tell her, if you go next time, they're gonna shoot you. Don't go that area.
In my heart is a lot of fear and frustration.
Has this changed your son?
Kids are having nightmare issues, and they have been really impacted by this to the point where they're not actually leaving the home.
Are you mad?
Today, silence from the youngest speaks.
Pretty much.
Middle school administration acted decisively when student Ahmed Mohammed brought something to school that could be mistaken for a bomb.
A story out of Texas that's getting a lot of attention online today. A 14-year-old boy was arrested after bringing a homemade clock to school because his teacher believed the device was a bomb.
Ahmed Mohammed, who is Muslim, says he just wanted to show off his simple invention, but instead he was put in handcuffs and taken to a juvenile detention center accused of building a hoax bomb. Mohammed was suspended from school. The Council of American Islamic Relations is now investigating the case, and he's getting a lot of support on social media. The hashtag #IStandWithAhmed is gaining traction online.
There is a picture of Ahmed at the police station, in handcuffs, glaring defiantly at the camera. Ahmed was protesting too much. Despite having a record of disciplinary issues, including a suspension, he claimed persecution, not for being a bratty smart aleck, but for being a Muslim. For this, for lying about religious persecution, CAIR awarded Ahmed Muslim of the Year. CAIR's insistence on diversity thwarted the children who were expecting to star in their elementary school production of Aladdin Jr.
After the Westtown Elementary Drama Club started rehearsal for Aladdin Jr., one parent, Danette Zagari Mask, says her 4th grade son came home upset and humiliated.
In the play, Arabs are described as barbaric. Those are the exact words that are used. And the actual play was very controversial, apparently, in the early 90s.
The play Aladdin Jr. is adapted from the popular 1992 Disney film Aladdin. Danette's son decided to drop out.
CAIR not only found it necessary to bully the school this way, they're quite proud of it.
And he opened the playbook for Aladdin Jr., which was a play that he was featured in as a supporting character. And he pointed to the words in the play where it describes Arabian lands as barbaric. He asked me why. CAIR helped me out from beginning to end through counseling me through the situations, comparing them to others that they deal with, reaching out to the school, being a resource for the school, resource for me. There was a lot of hatred that was expressed towards our family by the alt-right after it broke, so CAIR sort of walked me through that whole process. It helped me deal with the consequences of basically standing up for my son.
The school decided to cancel the play. A letter to drama club parents Thursday said in part, recently it has been brought to our attention that Disney's Aladdin Jr. has historically been criticized for its inaccurate, negative stereotyping of Arabic culture. After careful consideration and with input from the perspectives of many stakeholders, teachers, parents, and community members, we decided that this production of Aladdin Jr. is not the best fit for our Westtown community.
We're so relieved that the school is considerate of diversity.
Rivka Berry fled home after she converted to Christianity. Her family brought CAIR on board to handle the publicity, and while they succeeded in making this a national story, trying to prevent Rivka from receiving Christmas cards was petty and mean-spirited.
Christian convert Rivka Berry is in court again, trying to prevent a judge from forcing her to go back home to live with her parents who are Muslim. Her parents, however, equally busy in court, filing criminal complaints against their daughter and attempting to prevent her from receiving Christmas cards.
Basically, there are several things that happened at yesterday's hearing. There was a motion to prevent her from having any Christmas cards or any third-party communications. That motion was withdrawn. I think they thought it was so untenable and unreasonable, as we all know that it is. They just simply didn't want to embarrass themselves in front of the court. Secondly, they also filed a motion to hold Rivka in contempt of court for failing to wanting to counsel with a Muslim male who was also counseling Rivka's parents. And the court also denied that motion. She does not have to counsel with that particular individual. And then finally, she was going to be they were attempting to force her into a mediation situation with her parents to resolve the issues without lawyers present. And so the court obviously denied that motion as well. And a motion to stop any third-party communications was also denied. So yesterday was a good day for Rivka. And you know, what's really unfortunate here is that the parents over and over again keep saying, well, we love our daughter, we want to have her back, we want her to practice her faith, but there's inherent duplicity in all that because everything that they do is against that. They're filing contempt motions, criminal cases against her. They're filing these motions to prevent her from getting communications from people that love her. So there's a duplicity there between what they're doing and what they're saying. The problem here is that the parents are doing everything they can to show hostility and not trying to show anything that they really want. They want to see her and be a part. And so that's a problem. And when you file criminal charges against your own daughter, when you ask the court to hold her in contempt of court, those are not welcoming signs where, you know, a daughter would say, I want to be back with my parent. The issue here is there a conflict between the child and the parents? And there obviously is a conflict. And you asked me what the bottom line is. That's a great question. I think the bottom line here, and something that's really underlying this whole case, is that Rivka's parents' attorneys, both here in Orlando, initially they had qualified court-appointed counsel. And in both cases, in both Ohio and Florida, they fired those qualified lawyers and hired lawyers who were Muslims that had ties with CAIR and the Islamic Mosque.
CAIR is an old organization, 25 years with the same leadership. So when the fuddy-duddies saw something they didn't understand, they called for strong disciplinary action. But when an investigation cleared the cadets of any wrongdoing, CAIR didn't apologize. Not taking responsibility for your mistakes is the sign of a childish personality.
Tonight, both West Point and the U.S. Naval Academy have launched investigations into what cadets and midshipmen meant when they flashed a hand gesture on live TV at Saturday's Army-Navy game.
But it also figures in a mindless game which was showcased on Malcolm in the Middle and has caught on in the military.
Or basically, if you can make the other guy look at your hand when you're doing this, below your waist, you get to hit them in the arm. It's stupid, but hey, you get to hit people.
CAIR used a dying child to promote chain migration and circumvent national immigration policy. Although the child was beyond caring, CAIR used his body to embarrass President Trump.
Last week on Saturday, I was planning to take the life support out of him. For no reason, on Friday, CAIR called me saying we could help. We could try. I mean, it's not going to be 100%, but at least we could try our best. So I'm like, I changed my mind. I'm like, you know, I will have another chance for my son and my wife to see if I could bring them together for the last time. And with the support from CAIR, from social workers, from all media, we did it.
It is the most bittersweet of reunions. The visa took so long that little Abdullah is now unconscious, unable to breathe by himself, and unlikely to know his mother is there.
2-year-old Abdullah Hassan, a U.S. citizen, is on life support at a children's hospital in Oakland. His mother is barred from flying to the U.S. by President Trump's so-called Muslim ban and is stuck more than 7,500 miles away in Egypt.
This process shows that this is a Muslim ban and that this waiver is a sham.
We had a 7-year-old girl die in American custody. We had an 8-year-old boy die in American custody. And now we have a 2-year-old American boy, a U.S. citizen, who's dead after he couldn't come here earlier to receive the medical treatment he needed.
This was a rehearsed, scripted, political message that used a dying child as a prop to manipulate popular opinion and influence public policy to promote chain migration.
I think this is a sham process, and this case really shows that. After the government really, you know, they have to be embarrassed after seeing what happened in this case. I think this was an embarrassment to the Trump administration, and it should be. They should be embarrassed. So hopefully they'll look at this case and realize the consequences of their policies, and it'll change things for other families going forward. You really have to ask yourself, what is the purpose of this ban?
A macabre display like this and hiding behind children is something we have come to expect from Hamas, as well as the Council on American Islamic Relations.